The lady in black awaits. Let's get her boot scoot and boogieing with our best bets for Darlington next, right here on the back road.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome into the Back Road. This is In Between Media's NASCAR betting show. Elliot Hicks and Seth Woolcock here with you to discuss what's going to be a wild weekend at Darlington Raceway down there in South Carolina. Going dancing with the lady in black this weekend.
The track too tough to be tamed. Throwback weekend all rolled into one. Elliot cannot wait for this one. The oval's been good to us lately, right? We're starting to build that bankroll back up after kind of back and forth start to the season on the super speedways, on some of those one-off tracks. So really looking forward to breaking it down with y'all tonight. And I see the chat's already ripping hard as well. Maybe a little prelude here from our guy Skull saying, by the graphic, I suspect a 30-1 on Gibbs getting his first win. That might just be the case, my friend. Marcus checking in as well, asking who everyone's pick is for this weekend. Yeah, let us know below in the comments who you guys are picking for Darlington. We want to hear from you. Nick hanging out with us as well, saying what's up. He's got a Brennan Queen ticket for the Friday night truck race, so good on that. And then Andrew here as well, waiting to see who grabs the top 2 rows for outrights. I like that play as well, Andrew. Good to see you. And Elliot, one of those weeks, man, like we've been kind of in the thick of it. March Madness starting up, books a little slow to roll out the odds. I feel like I've been a little slow to the counter this week as well. So much so that, like, you know, I'm getting ready for the program, and all of a sudden there's no Busch Lights in the fridge. like we're at a dilemma here. All I could find, this is where I'm at right now. All we had were the leftovers from Kathleen's bachelorette party. So I got a pineapple lemonade Truly and also a pineapple Happy Dad. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the pineapple means, but if there's a pineapple scheme this weekend, we want to be there.
Yeah, I don't have any pineapple schemes. Not a lot of throwback schemes this year either. No longer encouraged by NASCAR, but still some good ones out there that we'll show too. And nothing wrong with a little fruit in the beverage, a little Minute Maid pink lemonade with some Pink Whitney in there. Nice little smooth beverage when you want to take a break from the Busch Lights, which I know doesn't happen often on this show. If you count, this may be a first where nobody on the program has a Busch Light. Normally, it's one of the 3 of us. Anyway, the more important stuff on the program, it's neat to have some synergy with the guys in the comments. Obviously going to be talking some Ty Gibbs. The trends, obviously, that we'll talk about. We'll show some qualifying stats, too. It is all going to start here in a minute when we take a look back in the rear view and review the weekend in Vegas. We got some news around the sport this week, so we will throw in a fast lap news before our Horizon forecast, where we break down all there is to know about Darlington. And then in our parking garage props, we will see how we're going to hang out with the lady in black, who we're liking, who we're not liking. And we'll throw that out there in the parking garage props. Lots of really cool stuff, as always, though, that we want to tell you about going on here at In Between Media. And arguably the most exciting thing, and it has been now for going on a year and a half now, is the IBT Racing family. Free to join the conversation and free to enter memorabilia giveaways. The paid tier gives you exclusive weekly betting model access. Our guy Chris Colicchio doing a great job on that, using data from himself, from you, Seth, from Ryan and iFantasy Race. It all comes together to make a beautiful synergy that helps us make a lot of money week in, week out. On the on the paid tier as well, you also get access to our full weekly betting cards for Chris, yourself, Seth, and myself as well. Mine's already in there for the week, at least what I've got. Before the books start to throw some more odds up there, hoping we start to get some more as the March Madness slows a little bit. It also gives you entry into the head-to-head matchups contest, which has been exciting as well. Our guy Chris has still been absolutely dominating that, but we're hoping to catch him soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to keep on with that. And also, Elliot, a quick reminder, too, we still have the giveaways going on for 4 premium subscriptions for the end of the NASCAR season here until the championship race, courtesy of our friend Trav over there. So go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat. Go ahead and join there. We're going to be giving away 3 more premium subscriptions till the end of the NASCAR season. We're going to do that the next 3 weeks on the program. Right now, this week's winner, Tim Sones. So go ahead, Tim. I'll send you a DM on Discord. I know you're already in the Discord, or you can Discord message me first. But either way, we'll make sure we get you upgraded and get registered on the site, man. But shout out to Trav for that, Elliot.
Yeah, shout out to Trav for sure. Congrats, Tim, on winning the paid subscription, which doesn't just give you access to the racing side, gives you access to the IBT Big Four, the football family, where, again, free to enter and chat. The paid stuff going to be more important when we're back into the season. But, hey, the NFL draft's coming up. I'm signed up to get my spot in the Berg and hopefully get to watch the first round before I'm stuck at work the rest of the weekend. Going to be wild, but going to be fun. The entertainment family as well. Survivor 50 going strong over there. And golf, man, hey, March Madness, you're watching the Turner Sports side. You're starting to get into the Masters coming up already in less than a month. I know that's going to be real exciting in the golf family as well.
Yeah, man, we got some big wagers this week. I was on the 19th hole with Jake. We're laying some down both on the PGA and the Live Tour. Thought about maybe some cross-sport parlays, but figured I shouldn't just because Thursday already going to be before the show. Can't give those out except in the Discord. So wanted to hold those in there. And then also on the entertainment side, dude, we've been cashing some big tickets on some box office over-unders, Rotten Tomato scores, that type of stuff too. So we're just continuing to build the bankroll here, man, each and every way we can. Even though there's no football, we still got everything else rolling. And future starting to drop for college football, some win totals over there. We're starting to, keep our head on a swivel for as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. I'm burying the leads here. There's still plenty of golf before the Masters and lots of entertainment stuff going on too. Just had the Oscars, which I'm sure in other states you can bet on, not something we can do here in Pennsylvania.
Actually, you can bet on everything, baby. Let's go.
Good point. Got to hop on those prediction markets as well. One more thing before we get rolling. Want to direct you, if you haven't seen already, to our new sub-channel, _Backroad. Link to it is in the episode description. This video, as well as all our other lives, are collaborated with it, as well as shorts going out each and every week talking about either the most recent NASCAR weekend or this week, the short that we put out there was discussing some Formula One stuff, some ups and downs for the season. Also, every other week or so, we're throwing up a bonus episode of the Backroad over there where we can expand a little bit if we've got a whole bunch of O'Reilly and Chuck bets. If we want to talk F1, if we want to talk IndyCar, if we want to expand on anything else, this is going to be the home for it. Main show still living on the main channel, but all the bonus content that we get, _Backroad. The Backroad, you can see that wonderful logo there, the banner that we got up there with the NASCAR, IndyCar, F1. We talk about it all over there. It's been fun to hang out over there and a good spot to kind of expand on stuff outside of the main show.
Yeah, just a little more talking points, right? More stuff to discuss because sometimes we can't always fit it into this main show. It's good to branch out to, hey, maybe you're just into Formula One betting, or maybe you're a real sicko and you're just into IndyCar betting. I've met those folks out there, Elliot. They're those types of degens out there, and we love them. And it's just a great place to connect. So we appreciate that as well. And Jamie checking in as well, saying, what's up, guys? What's up, Jamie? Asking, he's got a question here about draft night out. Yeah, Jamie, I'll be sure to get back to you. Let me know if you message me on Discord or where that message was, and I'll be sure to get back to you here as soon as I can on that. But yeah, Elliot, we're not even that far away too. I think July, how far is July away? 4 or 5 months now, where the events are going to be rolling out, IBT Classic and the draft night out going down as well in Canton, Ohio once again.
Yeah. If you're a big football fan, either located in the Northeast area of the U.S. or willing to travel, a lot of fun in Canton, Ohio, around the FF Expo, where we have the IBT Classic golf outing, draft night out, of course, an IBT run event, and just lots of good times over there in Canton. And I think we talked a little bit of racing over there, but either way, still fun to connect with the community, and looking forward to seeing anyone and everyone who can come out there in July.
Gave out some diecast, man. Some people were revving up for some diecast. So there's NASCAR fans everywhere. And you'd be surprised. Some of these old school football fans, even some of the new age ones, also into racing as well. So super cool to connect with people. Anytime we can get, just like-minded individuals in a room for some community and a couple of beverages along the way, it's always great. And, you and I have still kind of been pipe dreaming. Hey, we got to do a NASCAR live event one of these years as well. So hopefully we can secure that in the next few seasons as well.
Hey, Pocono's coming up beginning of June, but lots of busy times going on around then.
Week after the wedding. Can't play in a live event this year. Off the list.
No, but hey, if you're going to be at Pocono in June, we would love to hang with you a little bit. Anyway, we've done enough of the plugs. We appreciate all of your guys' support for everything In Between Media does. Thanks for tuning in live on the YouTube. We've already brought up some comments. If you have any questions, throw them in there throughout the night. We'll be answering questions. Any good bets you have, we always are down to listen to some good bets and add those potentially to our card. Shout out to everyone on Apple Podcasts as well. Leave us a review. And the easiest way to support us, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to both this channel and the _Backroad, the Backroad channel, if you haven't already. All right, let's get into it. Let's take a look back at Las Vegas in the rear view.
Baby, that's how you do it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You are the fans. No way! We did it! Yeah!
So on the NASCAR side in Las Vegas, we had the Cup and O'Reilly Series. O'Reilly Series, we saw Kyle Larson grab the win in the JRM car. Cup Series race pretty much dominated by the Toyotas. I mean, we saw Larson kind of mix it up there a little bit toward the front, but Denny Hamlin, the dominant driver of the day, overcame a speeding penalty, goes, I think, from 31st to inside the top 5 during one of the stage runs. He ends up winning the race, going back-to-back at Las Vegas for Denny Hamlin. His first win of the year, and really showing that the Toyotas continue to be the dominant force. It's not just Tyler Reddick winning races. It's Toyota across the board, lightning fast.
I mean, Elliot, we kind of forecasted this coming into the weekend, right? That it was going to be a Yoder type of weekend. Chevy still working out some of those kinks, although our boy Brian's still convinced they're doing all right. And look, you had guys like Chase Elliott who had late run speed, give it maybe 5-10 more laps. Maybe he could have got to Hamlin there. Kyle Larson looked bad fast at certain points in this race as well, led 62 laps. But yeah, I mean, Toyota's kind of just the cream of the crop here, right? You had Christopher Bell who, pulls it, runs strong primarily the whole day. And then Ty Gibbs, who was really a top 5 car all race long as well. And Chase Briscoe's been back and forth, had some penalties on and off pit road, finally gets a top 10 that he desperately needed. But yeah, Toyota's moving on all cylinders. And that really felt like on Sunday, it was going to be a Denny race. I've thought about trying to maybe get invested with the outright. I know our guy Chris and a lot of other IBT family members were on the Denny outright. I just found a different way to get invested as well because I was worried about Chris Bell. I was also worried about Kyle Larson as well. So I kind of try to put them more in a group, if that made sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. Like I said on the show, I mean, I thought it was going to be an old school Chevrolet Larson type of ass kicking race. And for a little bit in stage 2, I thought that might end up happening, but the new Chevy body's still working some things out. We had Parker Kligerman discuss on his podcast that maybe Hendrick got the new template setup, whatever, for the new Chevy body, and none of the rest of the Chevy teams did. So maybe that's why they were not quite as good. Either way, something to monitor as we continue to go on the traditional ovals here. Yeah, I wasn't on the Denny outright either, but I was able to get in on his top 3 at plus 160. Can't be too mad there. I had a myriad of different top 10s and hit a few of those. Ty Gibbs, really good day, plus 185. I got his top 10. Nice. And a pretty fortunate beat for me at the end of the race. The battle for 10th was between Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, all trading that position back and forth. Reddick was the one guy I didn't have any money on. I was like, man, that'd be cool if Reddick messes up and slaps the wall here. Something happened to him. He went from 9th to 12th on the last lap.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they would show it for a guy who had a top 10 ticket on Tyler Reddick the whole day. My goodness.
Well, I had a Reddick matchup over Hamlin and a Reddick top 3. That did not go well. He had decent speed, but he was not really a threat to win the race. But him whiffing pretty bad at the end there. Got the Bubba top 10 plus 135. The Keselowski top 10 at 3-1.
Wow.
Whiffed really, really bad, though, on Ross Chastain and Joey Logano. Had more invested in those guys, and neither of them looked good at all. We'll talk more about Ross here in a few minutes. Matchups got the Eric Jones over Connor Zillich plus 105. We are continuing to fade Zilly. Winning number under 16.5 at plus 120. Had a feeling it was going to be in that, Larson or Hamlin or somebody like that. Worked out for me. So pretty good day on the Cup side here. I see you have the Briscoe top 5 that you already talked about, and it looks like some bets in the other series. We got a couple more Cup bets here. Don't let me speak for you. Go ahead and tell us some more about the bets that won for you.
Yeah, Suarez top 20. That was a prediction market special. That was fun. That was 2 units. Almost got the Herbst one, but that didn't get quite to the window. The big bet of the weekend, Tyler Reddick top 10. It felt good all day. He was a top 5 car early on. Towards the back half of that race, more a 6th to 10th place car, but didn't expect him to fall out at the end there. I don't know if you're watching the in-car cameras, because I was not. And I was just screaming at the TV, what's happening? What's happening to Tyler Reddick? What's happening? Because they weren't showing it. So that was a bummer, but we did get the grid position of race winner under 5.5. We laid that plus 113 boosted at Bet Rivers. We did that Sunday morning. That was a Discord special there. And then Danny Suarez as well, plus 160 over Carson Hocevar. That felt like a great play for a unit there at the score on Sunday morning as well. It's been a really fun season, Elliot, for me at least, like getting invested a little bit on Sundays, right? Saving some in the holster for the weekend. I want to see how some of these cars unload, specifically with Chevy, right? Because Chevy does seem like they have a lot of, give and take right now. The Spire market, whether you're fading Carson Hocevar like our guy Chris is every single week in different matchups, or just backing some guys who are having some surprising speed some week, like Suarez, a McNasty here and there. It's definitely good. But honestly, the Xfinity side, though, O'Reilly side, excuse me, Elliot, that was the big gainers of the weekend came there for me.
Yeah, and it was looking pretty good for me for a couple of those. Had some bad beats. Chase Briscoe, obviously a really fast car there. He rarely gets to run down there, but is really good at Vegas. I already don't remember if it was a speeding penalty or something happened to him that backed him up. Makes it all the way back to P2, but P2 doesn't cash in outright. Cash is a good bet that you had on him, but didn't work out for me. Same with my matchup in the matchups contest. I thought Gray over Cole Custer was a slam dunk. I mean, it was a minus 140, minus 150.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I don't touch those with a 10-foot pole on a matchup. I thought this one was very obvious, and it was looking that way until he ran into Sheldon Creed. Creed thought he blocked one too many times, dumps the 54, totally junks him. That matchup does not hit. Custer did not end up finishing that great, but enough to beat a guy who gets junked. The one bet I did hit on the O'Reilly side, though, Corey Day, top 10, plus 175. He was kind of mixing it up for the lead there at the end. I knew he would screw it up, almost screwed up the top 10, slapped the wall twice in the same lap with 6 laps to go. Still ends up cashing it, though, but exactly what I said about Corey Day. No racecraft, but enough speed to get in the top 10. Maybe something I go back to the well on this week if we get O'Reilly top 10s once these books look away from March Madness for 10 seconds and give us some odds.
Yeah, we can hold our breath. I don't think we're getting them this week. It just feels like whenever there's like a decent sized sporting event out there, like you're probably not getting them, at least is how it feels so far this season. Yeah, I was on that Briscoe top 5. I thought about laddering it to top 3. I just figured with his success at that racetrack in both the O'Reilly and the Cup Series, and then, just the fact that Eric Almirola looked great in that car last season. Top 5, I smashed it. Even money, 3 units. That felt great to come to the window. Had a couple of long shot top 10s, HB, little Sanchez action. Did not get to the window. But then Jesse Love, minus 115 over Brandon Jones. That was maybe one of the locks of the weekend. Got me another point in the matchup contest as well. So that was great. And even Saturday night, Elliot, a little F1 fun got across the finish line there as well.
Yeah, my only F1 bet was Kimi Antonelli. I thought he was going to finish 3rd. I was expecting George Russell does well, one of the Ferraris catch up to him, and Antonelli ends up 3rd. I was a week late, or I was a week early on the pole bet, won the pole, and was not high enough on him in the race. Kimi Antonelli, the young driver, getting his first win for Mercedes. So my top 3 didn't hit. You were able to have a bet hit, though, thanks to keeping a good eye on the Mercedes. Yeah,
a little double podium finish, right? Like, I don't know why it is like this in F1, Elliot, but like it feels like whatever team just gets the leg up on the competition, and you follow this series a lot closer than I do. It just like it, and the books know, and it's like you kind of like don't question the book sometimes, right? Like I bet if we go back to double podium finish the next F1 race, like probably minus 200, like probably not bettable at that point, but that's kind of where we are, and just kind of a crazy. You touched on in your short, just a crazy string of events for the entire garage right now, but definitely, defending champions McLaren. Just I cannot believe how that start has gone.
Yeah, I mean, it was a wild weekend for them. Neither car able to start the race. We're 2 races in. Piastri hasn't even turned a lap yet. They both had electrical issues there. So yeah, McLaren not so great. Max Verstappen not getting along with this car at all. But right now it's Mercedes and it's Ferrari. But a little break coming up for them. I think they've got 1 more race, maybe 2 more races. And then they had 2 races in the Middle East get canceled. Don't know if they'll try to move those later in the year. But in any case, it's going to give about a month, 5-week long break. So for teams that a lot of them really need the help to try to catch Mercedes and Ferrari, little extended break will give them some time to get back in the garage or in the paddock, whatever you want to call it, the race shop, to try to fix these problems and to try and get either one of these two teams and not have just Mercedes and Ferrari run away with it all year.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be fun. We'll see what happens. We'll keep our eye on there, and also the IndyCar series. That was a fun race there on Sunday as well. So just a jam-packed weekend of racing, and excited to make it another one here out in the lovely town of Darlington.
Yeah, man, here's hoping. I wanted to touch on a couple of comments real quick. Chris chiming in saying, whenever Denny looks good in practice at a track he has a good history at, you have to bet him. Not somebody who always pops in practice. That's a really good point. Sometimes you'll see drivers run down in like the 20s or the 30s in practice, not really kind of show up. But yeah, Denny Hamlin, if he's good on Saturday, probably going to be good on Sunday for sure.
And he keeps it real. He keeps it real with the media too, right? Like this is a guy who's going to kind of tell you how the car is. Like that's why I like Kyle Busch too. Like he's not going to fluff it up a little bit. So like when he was saying on Saturday how good his car felt, I felt like an outright was coming. I should have got on it, but way to go, Chris, on that one. I know he had some multiple units down on it.
Yeah, probably should have got down on the outright too, but you learn your lessons early in the year, and then Denny going for 3 in a row this fall in Las Vegas. We'll have to watch. Jamie chiming in, our guy, I'm normally a football guy, chiming in on the NASCAR side. Wish I knew racing so I can understand what you guys are talking about. Even mentioning that about Frankie Muniz in the Truck Series. Chris, thankfully, hopping in and helping for that. But hey, man, it's one of those things too. Just keep half an eye, half an ear on it. When we get to the bets, tail a couple of them. I feel like we know what we're doing. Hopefully, we don't screw you over. And then you can get into it too. I'm having this at work too. A new coworker of mine into betting football, basketball, that sort of thing, and is like, hey, I talked to him about all the NASCAR betting. Has gotten down on a couple of bets. I don't know if he's taken the ones that have won money or not. We haven't followed up on it, but dude, there's just so many advantages to getting into the NASCAR market, and you don't have to be as degenerate as us. You don't have to be watching for 20 years like we have. At times, I don't want to say it's easy to pick up on because nothing's ever easy. But there are certainly leans you can take. Like at a race like last week, we knew it was going to be Hamlin, Larson, Bell, Byron. That was probably about it for the win. So 1 in 4 shot is a lot better than a lot of the bets for other sports that you can get. At least I feel like.
No, absolutely. And I think it's super fair. And like we've been doing this long enough now, Elliot, where we've seen the books continue to get sharper, but they're still not sharp enough to the point where they are for NFL and college football markets, right? Like those are two sports that, I do for my day job is handicapping these sports and talking about them. And, to be a 60-40 better is like what you're hoping for over there, right? Like NASCAR, you can just find more value out there because the books are focused on March Madness. They're focused on these bigger niches. And so that's why it's great to kind of get invested with a lot of the content we have at IBT, whether it's the Backroad and all the content we're offering on the motorsport side, or, go over the PGA and Live Tour on the 19th hole with Jake and Mike and company. And like they're doing a great job over there finding value. You can bet top 40s in golf. That's my favorite thing, Elliot. I'm hammering like even money top 40s. And it's such a fun thing. And like even the entertainment stuff, man, like I was reading an article earlier this week that, 2 years ago on Kalshi, they had $2.2 million bet on the Oscars. This year, over 100 million. So that is a niche that is growing like NASCAR. So it's just super cool to kind of be getting invested places where there is real value and real opportunity to make money. Like I love football and I love football betting too, and everything that comes along with it. But it is much harder to be accurate and find value than it is with these other niches like NASCAR racing. All right, I think we might have lost Elliot there. So, all right, we'll keep it moving here.
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear you. Back now?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay, great. The thing I was going to say is in NASCAR, it's us versus the books. So you can hop on our train anytime you want. In any case, before we talk Darlington, let's talk about some of the news of the week. Fast Lap news coming at you. So if you're watching the Craftsman Truck Series, one person you will not be seeing this weekend is Daniel Dye, suspended by NASCAR and Kaulig Racing on a Whatnot live stream, ripping some cards with Brent Cruz and some pals. Made some comments that we're not going to bother to share here, but they were pretty dumb and they were seen and spread by people. And usually when you say pretty dumb things, you're going to have some repercussions for it. That's what happened to Daniel Dye. As for this week, AJ Allmendinger going to drive that number 10 truck that you see there at Darlington. Dye indefinitely suspended. All of his merch gone from the Kaulig site at the moment. None of the diecast pre-orders are still up. So it could be indefinite suspension. Could be a hot minute there for Daniel Dye. I don't know how much you want to comment on this, but in any case, regardless of whatever stupid personal opinions or thoughts anybody has, when you're on a live stream, you probably should realize you're on a live stream and not say whatever dumb shit is going through your stream of consciousness,
Yeah, honestly, I saw the video, but it was like real early in the morning, so I was kind of groggy, and I wasn't, I wasn't, so I can't comment on it, whether it was right or wrong or whatever. But like, that's the world we live in, and like you and I are live every week, yourself in an hour and a half, 2 hours every single week. Myself, maybe closer to 6 or 7, with all the content I do. But like, you just have to, let's be respectful to everybody, and just keep that in focus. You know what I mean? Keep that in focus and know that, like, hey, we're all one dumb decision, one bad thing said away from losing our job. So we need to just kind of keep our heads on a swivel. And from a betting perspective, though, Dinger in the trucks, like, I don't know about that, but like, this is the track I won him, right? This is one of his best tracks, really, in every series. So maybe the truck isn't that much, different for Dinger. So, if we had a top 10 market or something like that, I might be taking a stab.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see him out there in the truck series. And that's what AJ said preseason. He's like, well, I don't have any plans to race the truck, but I'm sure something's going to happen, and they're going to call me Tuesday morning and say, hey, guess what, bud? You're in the truck this week. So that's what happened there. And it's not even just, do we have a good comment there or something like that? But it's not.
Just some allegedness in the chat. We don't need to talk about it over the airwaves, but just some other allegedness.
Yeah, well, that's so when oftentimes you see Daniel Dye would race under race to stop suicide. I don't know if fraudulent's the right word, but they were not all of that money that was coming in that's owned by the Dye family and represented there. A lot of that money was going back into racing, and not as much as people may have thought going toward anti-suicide causes or whatnot. But in any case, the other thing too is, like, he's wearing a Kaulig shirt with Kaulig on this side and Ram on this side. You're representing brands, man. If it's not just you out there anymore. Yeah. And a gentleman on Twitter by the name, he goes by Wookie, used to work for Carl Long and stuff like that. An anonymous guy, but a guy who knows he's in the sport, basically saying as much as to, like, you're representing these brands, and when you're coming up as a young kid, you got talent, you got the funds behind you again. His father's ties with Ram and dealerships like that. Part of why he's in this ride with Kaulig. You're representing all those brands. You rushed up there pretty quick. You maybe don't go through the same maturity level that you're kind of supposed to at that point. And it's just, you rush these kids up so quick. They don't learn kind of how to not be a shithead, for lack of a better word. And Daniel Dye falling victim to that by his own fault, of course. I'm not saying he's a victim.
Yeah.
It's you won't be seeing Daniel Dye in the series for a while in any case. And unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing Alex Bowman in the Cup Series either. They've announced he's out for the next 3 races. That includes an off week. So the next 4 weeks, he's out of the 48 car through Bristol. Justin Allgaier will be the sub for those 3 races. You can comment on what you think of Allgaier or anything like that. Obviously, as a Bowman fan, it sucks. And if it wasn't for doing this show, it'd be very, very easy for me to just tune out, because I'm bummed out. I'm bummed out, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This sucks, dude. Like, season shot, and I think Hendrick's doing the right thing, putting Gator back in the car. Like, if you're trying to save any type of, owner points, this is where you get him. You get him with a guy like Allgaier. I love it from a betting perspective from him for a little bit, because it's going to bring some value, I think, to him in future weeks at tracks that he's really, really good at. And I also think, like, at the same time, like, if JRM does ever expand this, Cup Series program, more seat time for him in the next gen car is always good. So that's the bright side of it. Like, the downside is, like, Alex Bowman's just like, you and I have talked to him. He's a really, really good guy, like, really smart person, great head on his shoulders, family man. And it just sucks to see this type of situation, especially because, there's Bowman fans out there like you who, had to deal with this a time or two ago with Junior, right? So it's tough, and it's the unfortunate part of the sport. It's not supposed to be concussion related is what we're hearing, at least, which is like a good thing. And then maybe this vertigo kind of just developed elsewhere. But, AB, get back, baby. We need you. We need you out here cashing top 10s for us, and run your ass off to for Hendrick Motorsports out there.
I think it's one of those things where it's not concussion related in that there was not a diagnosed concussion immediately followed by vertigo, but crashed out at Daytona, crashed out at Atlanta, and then you're ripping around a road course at high speeds at Circuit of the Americas. A guy who's dealt with concussion issues before, very well could be related. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs of it, but yeah, the fan perspective, 2016 with Dale Jr., 22 with Bowman, 23 with Bowman, and now 26 with Bowman. It sucks, but what are you going to do? The only upside of this is if he's able to get back in the car at any point this season, you don't have to points race. You don't have to worry about any points because the chase is gone. Go out there and try and win races. And I think that'll, if and when he's able to get back in the car, they can go out there and have fun and rip around and enjoy the contract year at Hendrick and see what happens in the future. But in any case, we're going to go from some down news to a good old fashioned, I don't want to say brawl because, Suarez has said he's not going to beat up Ross Chastain. It's not worth the money. Ricky Stenhouse knows it's $75,000.
Great comment of the year.
But we do have our first real beef for the 2026 season. Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez kind of get into it post-race. Not really a major incident during the race that really set them off, but it's led to comments from both of these guys. Of course, former teammates up from 2022 through this past year at Trackhouse. They both have said they don't get along with each other. Ross saying he doesn't really get along with him. Suarez has essentially called him two-faced, saying that there's some things behind the scenes that I don't know if I like about him. So we've got our first real beef of the year. Chastain, a guy well, Suarez, a guy also that has been in the Cup Series a while. It looked like they had a little bromance when they were teammates, but obviously some stuff behind the scenes now coming to air with these two guys.
Well, and this is even a huge shocker, right? Like we had seen them even as teammates get into it with one another kind of towards the end of races, right? Going back a year or two ago. So, and like credit to Daniel Suarez. He's having a great start to the season, man. I was kind of writing him off, but at the same time, like, there is a reason that I think he lost his job at Trackhouse Racing. I mean, you have just an all-star lineup there, to be honest with you. But this is tough, right? Because these are two guys who obviously I don't think ever super got along. And like Ross Chastain is like Justin Marks' guy, right? Like that is the guy who is taken him to crown jewel victories, championship 4 appearances, one of the all-time great NASCAR moves in the Hail Melon. And so he'll always be like, in my mind, a Trackhouse, stand for the rest of his life. And Daniel Suarez, a bit of an outcast at this point, towards that organization, doesn't feel like it ended super well. Shout out to that lady getting in the middle of a great potential scrap. I mean, she's out there just
even Michael McDowell was kind of walking over there too. He saw something was going on and he wanted to get a little McNasty with it.
Yeah. I mean, that lady just getting in the middle of it. And like, I wish the NASCAR wouldn't impose fines. Like, come on, this is part of, it used to be part of the sport, but it's like the NFL in that sense that like, hey, if you want to fight, you can fight, but you're going to pay the fine. But like, they don't even really let them fight because you got NASCAR officials who are also pretty jacked individuals hanging around the sidelines as well for the most part. So that's absolutely, disappointing. But at the same time, like, do you think this is something that continues, Elliot? Because I don't know if it, necessarily does, but it's a great storyline to follow, and I'm here for it all the way, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where they're not going to like seek each other out or pull any dirty stuff during races, but they're going to race each other a little harder. And if situations come up or one of them feels wrong, they're not going to have any problem taking it out on the other. You mentioned Suarez's great start to the year with Spire. That's pretty much what Ross said as well, was right now we're not fast enough to race around him all that often. The 7 car has been kind of outperforming the 1 car so far this year. So it's a deal where they may not have to be around each other super often. But yeah, going to be something to watch throughout the year. I mean, we saw this, whether intentional or unintentional, with Carson Hocevar and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. last year. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, if you got a problem with somebody, you're going to end up racing around them just because that's kind of how it works. So Darlington, you can hit the wall a lot there. It's going to be hard to control. These race cars this weekend, as we'll talk about here in a minute, maybe they end up around each other and we get a little part 2 here. Chris,
I think they'll be around each other, honestly, more than you think, because Trackhouse is now like running, I feel like a lot more 15th to like 23rd. And that's like where Spire lives, right? So I don't know, man. They're knocking on their doorstep.
Yeah, man, that'll be a fun little subplot too. I don't know if we'll quite have a, 2011 Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, where Harvick gets out of his car, parks it in front of Busch, gets out of his car. Busch just keeps driving his car, pushes the 49 into the pit wall. What would be the line if they were to fight -150 to Ross? I feel like it'd be kind of close. I mean, neither of them are really big guys. I feel like
Suarez is tall though. He's got a big reach on. Ross is a short individual. Like Ross makes me kind of look tall standing next to him. Honestly, Elliot, especially if I got
that watermelon farmer strength though. That's what I'd be worried about.
Yeah,
Suarez is probably a tough guy.
Suarez has like if it's just boxing, like standing up, I maybe give a lean to Suarez. But if like we're talking, hey, you can get some double leg takedowns, some chokeholds in there, like take it down to the ground. I would give Ross the advantage for sure. I think he has the strength, but. Dude, that those lanky individuals, people knew that back when I used to wrestle 5th in the district back in D9 2016, baby. Don't forget it.
Hey, all right, NCAA wrestling championships this weekend. I'm sure
Madness,
you would have got into it there. But Penn State's pretty good. I don't think you would have gotten in there. But anyway,
you can't even bet on Penn State, right? You can't even bet on it is insane right now. Just like. It's Penn State or bust pretty much for wrestling, which is great. I used to live above a Penn State wrestler too when I lived out in those parts as well. But he wasn't a great individual to live around. But hey, he also didn't wrestle he wrestled in the Olympics, but not for the Americans. So he was fine. He was fine. But not my Cale Sanderson. I'll just leave it at that. Not my David Lee.
They should fight in the boxing ring. That'd be a fun idea for like All-Star Weekend or something like that. You set up a little something. I know Dale Jr. tells stories about he had a boxing ring on his property there for a while out at Dirty Mo Acres. So little boxing fun, maybe a little fun thing for charity or something if it gets to be bad enough. Anyway, something that'll be interesting to watch throughout maybe the next week if they're racing around each other, but for the whole year too, we know there's beef there, and it's not just the Wendy's beef that Ross has on his car sometimes, and Suarez used to rep. It's
nothing wrong with that kind of beef. I like that kind of beef. Fired up.
No, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying there's a little more than that. I'm sure everyone out there wanting a little more from us. Thankfully, we appreciate you tuning in. So let's go ahead and start to get to the Darlington weekend. Break down the track entry list, everything you need to know in the Horizon Forecast. So the entry list for the weekend, again, you got some throwback cars. Carson Hocevar there to Dale Earnhardt. Some not throwback cars. Chase Briscoe wanting to be a free bird out there at the Lady in Black. Cup Series, 37 entries for the week. The 48 is Allgaier. 66 of Timmy Hill entering the race as well. O'Reilly, 40 cars, so a couple DNQs going to happen there as well. Ross Chastain, one of the guys running all 3 races. He'll be in the JRM number 9. Christopher Bell, the other guy running all 3 races this weekend in that Joe Gibbs Racing number 19. Raja Caruth over to the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing. The 88 was supposed to be Alex Bowman, but is now Kyle Larson. And Matt DiBenedetto returning to the O'Reilly Series in the 35 car for Joey Gase Racing. So no disrespect to Joey Gase, probably a little bit of a downfall there. Truck side fun entry list as well. William Sawalich in the Tricon number 1. Corey Heim is in the Tricon number 5. A couple of fast trucks there. Connor Mosack returns to the Spire 7. We mentioned AJ Allmendinger is in the 10 truck for Kaulig. Corey LaJoie is in the All-Star 25 truck, running a throwback to his dad. Chastain will be in the 45 for Nice. Christopher Bell in the 62 for Friesen. Carson Hocevar in that 77 truck for Spire as well. Friday, we've been talking about it, Seth. We've been wanting Truck Night in America. We've been wondering where the Friday night truck races are. They're back this week. 3:30 in the afternoon will be your practice and qualifying. 7:51 the green flag for the Buckle Up South Carolina 200. Stage lengths for both this race and the O'Reilly race, 45, 45, and 57. Saturday, of course, the normal schedule. Noon for the O'Reilly P&Q, 2:30 for Cup P&Q, 5:42 Saturday evening is your green flag for the Sport Clips Haircuts VFW Help a Hero 200. How many things can they cram into these race names?
That's a pretty decent name. I was going to say, though.
I didn't say it's a bad one, but there's just Sports Clips, VFW, We're Helping Heroes, and the 200. It's
I would just prefer VFW Help a Hero 200. That's a race name in itself. I will say Buckle Up South Carolina 200. That's a great name as well, man.
Mm-hmm. You keep it nice and simple on the Cup side. 3:12 on Sunday afternoon for the Goodyear 400. Nice, simple, straight to the point. You can fit it on any kind of trophy. 90, 95, and 108 over there. The Darlington Raceway, one of the more unique tracks on the circuit. A little wider in 2 of the turns and a little more narrow in the other 2. when they built the track back in the 40s or 50s or whatnot. They didn't want it to interfere with the minnow pond over there, so a couple of the corners had to be a little shorter. Makes it a 1.366 mile high tire wear skill intermediate track that really doesn't have a true comp set.
No, it really doesn't. And that's like the one tricky thing about Darlington every single season. The best comp is itself, right? And we have increasingly better data as we get more into the season. It is looking like Homestead, Chicagoland, Dover. Those are like the comps that we're running out here. Also, Chris did weigh in the models from 2026 Phoenix data, Elliot, specifically because of the horsepower.
Yeah, same horsepower package, which is going to make things interesting this weekend. A lot of drivers have commented on running that short track, higher horsepower package this year, along with the tire wear that we've seen at Darlington as of late. They're expecting the race to be intense. They're expecting it to be very difficult. And it's going to be, I don't know if it's quite to the levels of some of these Bristol races that we've seen, but they're expecting it to be a wild one. 11 sets of tires for each of these teams,
Wow.
10 new in their qualifying set, which feels pretty short to them based on how the tire wear is going to be. The left sides were the same as what raced here last year, but the right sides were not introduced until the Kansas playoff race last fall, which was after the second Darlington race last year. So a new right side tire, new horsepower package, same old Darlington. Sounds like it's going to be a wild show.
Absolutely. And that's why I think this week, like especially, I'm saving some for after qualifying, right? Because I want to see who's good, who's not. And even still, we might see some absolutely, different stuff happening in the Cup Series that could derail some cards. So just like proceed with caution this week is kind of my advice. It doesn't feel as good as it did coming into Las Vegas and even Phoenix from that standpoint as well. I just feel like there's a little bit more unknowns specifically with the tires, with the horsepower. I will say though, like credit to NASCAR, Elliot. I mean, you and I, as critical as anyone, I think, towards this sport sometimes, and they've just continued to try to improve things, whether that was a horsepower increase and Goodyear doing a really nice job the last, I'd say 48, months or so. No, maybe that's 24 months, 4 years is a lot. 2 years. I think they've been doing a good job just trying to make some subtle changes to the tire that this is going to be a really good race and it will be must-see entertainment on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, they're really searching for the perfect give and take. They want a tire, the drivers, teams, everyone have said they want a tire that gives a little more, has a little more of that wear, puts strategy into the team's hands. But when it goes a little wild on them, Goodyear doesn't want the teams to be like, hey, you guys stink. You made us a bad tire. And they even tweeted before a couple races ago, hey, those recommended tire pressures were not guesses. They had the science.
Oh, wow.
It seems like a good give and take, though. We haven't really heard any trash talking about Goodyear. And to what you said, give them credit for the job that they've done to make the racing more entertaining when they can.
The only thing I think could be a little bit better is like there is tire wear now, which we weren't seeing in the early next gen era. However, we would like to see it where it is rewarding the people who are conserving their tires a bit more and hurting the ones who are being a bit more aggressive, because it felt like you could kind of be aggressive at times last week where your tires weren't really going to hurt late in the run as much as we would like to see. It was kind of just like everyone's tires were getting hurt kind of the same amount. But I want to see those drivers like the Denny Hamlins of the world who are super great at conserving those tires, the Christopher Bells, the guys who can just, really take their foot off the throttle for the early part of a run and have that back end speed. I want to see that play out more and more. So I think that would be the biggest complaint I have. And I think that's the biggest complaint maybe the garage has as a whole right now, Elliot.
But I think just going to a different track is going to solve that complaint. You can refer to Vegas as a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Darlington sure as hell is no cookie cutter. It's one messed up cookie cutter that, maybe got bent around in the wash. You've made a lot of cookies with it. And they've made a lot of cookies and made a lot of hay at this place. It will be the 130th Cup race at Darlington. So this place has been around quite a while. Average starting position, Denny Hamlin has the best in the series among active drivers at 8.4. Kyle Larson, 9.1. Tyler Reddick, 9.8. William Byron just behind him, 9.9. Ryan Blaney, 10.2. So all guys that have had levels of success here. They start pretty well here too. Active pole winners, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano have 2. Then you have Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Brad Keselowski with 1 apiece. And the nice thing is too, at a lot of these tracks, we can say, okay, this guy's got 4 poles, this guy's got 3, these 3 guys have 2, these 8 guys have 1, and we're going back to like 2010. All those guys I just mentioned, except for Keselowski, have 1 poles here in the next gen. So it's much more recent qualifying data. that helps a little more than saying, oh, Allmendinger had a great lap here 17 years ago.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I do prefer next gen trends, to be honest with you. I mean, it's great to look back on the careers as well, but having that next gen data, specifically as we get further and further removed from the start of the next gen era, it's been great.
Yeah, and we're to the point now where you have those next gen stats. We're not really spitballing that much anymore. In terms of active race winners, you got next gen and not next gen here. Denny Hamlin 5 times here. Briscoe, Keselowski, Eric Jones have 2 wins apiece. Byron Larson, Logano, Kyle Busch with 1 apiece. I know Busch is not in the next gen. Byron Larson, Logano have next gen wins here. Both of Briscoes are. One of Keselowski's is, one of Jones is, and Denny Hamlin, 1 or 2 of them next gen. But he knows how to run around this track. Qualifying trends, they kind of stay the same, next gen, pre-gen, all that sort of stuff. The pole, obviously going to be one of your best places to start. Last week, one of our trends was second place, one more often than first place. Denny Hamlin started P2 on the grid, so that one worked there. Pole wins 16.5% of the time. Front row, 31.5%. Top 5, about 60. Top 10, 83%. There have been 6 total winners outside the top 20. 3 outside the top 30. None of them recent, though. But a funny stat from if you were watching Cup racing back in 1950, which I know we all are, Johnny Mance in 1950 started 43rd, won the race, and led 351 out of 400 laps. So that man got through the field quick. You're not going to be seeing that this weekend. If somebody's starting at the back, they're not going to lead 351 of 400 laps. I can tell you that much.
Those are high numbers. We throw these trends out every single week. Those are very high numbers for pole, front row, top 5, top 10. Like if you're not qualifying really inside the top 20, it is going to be tough. So keep that in mind with any, pre-practice and qualifying bets you do have this week. There is a chance they're up in smoke by Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and it's going to need to be really crazy. This is maybe a week where it could be really crazy, but
good point.
In any case, though, those guys that are qualifying in the top 20, if you can't run one really fast lap on Saturday, running enough to get to a spot where you can win the race, not going to be easy. And that's pointed out in this one right here. In terms of active winners, the deepest and active winner in the field, this is next gen as well. Kyle Larson won from 18th in 2023. So that's Kyle Larson.
Wow.
If you're not Kyle Larson,
if
you're starting 18th, it's going to be tougher. Anyway, average finish leaders here, Hamlin 7.9. This has always been one of his best tracks, if not his best. Tyler Reddick 11.5. Brad Keselowski 12.1. Eric Jones 12.8. Kyle Larson 12.9. And another Larson stat, again, some of it pre-next gen, a lot of it in the next gen era. He has led 1,050 laps here. That's 20.5% of the laps he has run at Darlington. He has led. In terms of first-time winners, it's only happened one time in the last 38 years here. 2011, Regan Smith winning in May. That was that race, the Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick little mess I was talking about. 2-tire call, got that 78 car to victory lane well before Truex was winning championships in it. In the next-gen races, 8 total. In 4 of those, the final pass for the lead was with 9 or fewer laps to go. 2 of those were decided in the last 2 laps. So just because a race goes one way or the other, and we saw it last year, William Byron led the first 30,000 laps of this race, didn't win the race because there were some late changes there. And even without the overtime finish that saw Denny Hamlin take the win here last spring, still was going to be a lead change in those last couple of laps. Blaney passing Reddick there. That was one of the 2 overtime next-gen races here, 6 total. In the history of the history of overtime here, not even the history of Darlington. They didn't have overtime until I think 2005 or so. So 6 races at Darlington into overtime. Not super often, but last spring, again, you had a lot of these trends hit.
I think you absolutely nailed it here. I think Chris, very interesting note here. While qualifying is important, don't get me wrong, but I'm hoping the horsepower, the tire wear gives us some comers and goers like we saw at Phoenix. So I think that's a great point there as well, Elliot.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Going to be really important to watch Saturday, like we've been talking about. See who's okay in practice. See if anybody biffs it and has to go to a backup car and go to the back, and see how they do in qualifying. Before we get to the bets, or go ahead, man.
I'll also never forget that Regan Smith win. I don't know if anyone will. That was one of my favorite. Like you watched him that whole night. You're like, man, this guy is like faster than he ever has been. It was one of those races. Like, if it doesn't come now, I don't know if it's coming. And it got to the window. If you had a Regan Smith ticket back in the day with your local bookie, you're feeling good that night, my friend.
Man, those must have been some good odds on him back in that day. We got to talk about the iFantasyRace.com Asterisk Mark driver of the week. Looking back to last fall's race here, Seth.
Yeah, Christopher Bell looked very, very strong last fall, last summer, whatever you want to call it, and was likely poised to be a top 5 contender, but finished with an asterisk mark 29th place. And in that race, Bell started up P7, finished 7th in stage 1, was 6 on lap 150. Then shortly after that, a caution came out. Bell had really hard nose splitter contact with Carson Hocevar, of course, on pit road, and really afternoon was doomed, after that. So in terms of total speed rankings from iFantasyRace.com, Bell ranked 14th, but take note that his speed in the segments were 2nd, 7th, 28th, and 28th. So Bell was a top 5, top 7 car last season, Elliot, at this track in the fall. It's just not going to show up like that. And that did ding him a little bit in our projections. But I mean, C Bell still coming in 5th overall. Maybe he would be up closer to 4th though, but there is still a pretty big gap between the top 3, which are Denny, Hamlin, William Byron, and Tyler Reddick. And then you get to Bubba and C Bell and Larson kind of in that next tier.
Yeah, good point too. Betting model kind of has some of those guys featured near the top. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the bets. And one other thing to keep in mind too, with the fall stats versus the spring stats here, this is the big asterisk mark of the week, obviously, but especially for those guys that are in what was then the playoffs, what is now the chase. That first race of the playoffs being at Darlington in most of the last, or all the next gen years except for one, it feels like the Gremlins bite some of these playoff guys pretty early on. So for Bell, you could say that kind of happened to him, happened to a lot of the Hendrick guys last fall. Yeah, Josh Berry crashed on the first lap. So in the spring race, things look a little different than in the fall race because there's not quite as much pressure. Maybe the pressure's ramped up a little bit because now kind of every race matters a little more. You don't get that win and in ticket out. Yep. But something else to look at too when you're weighing, if this guy was bad last fall and he was a playoff guy, maybe see how he did in terms of speed rankings or how he usually does in the spring races.
Well, yeah, and one of the great things that Chris actually put in the projections model this week is he put a line for average spring races at Darlington, average finish. That was really helpful. And then actually a lot of the metrics we're weighing this week too are spring specific. So just kind of an interesting note, an interesting wrinkle, which I really appreciate it. And it was kind of cool, Elliot, just to see the discrepancy of someone's average finish at Darlington in the next gen era versus someone's average finish at Darlington in the next gen era in the springtime. Vastly different for some of these drivers, and great pointed out there in that projections betting model that continues to grow every single week thanks to the good work from our guy, Chris Colicchio.
No doubt about it, man. Shout out to Chris for that. Obviously going to bring up a lot of those model stats when we get to the bets here in just a minute. Want to shout out our friends over at WannaParlay first real quick.
Yeah, WannaParlay. They've been longtime sponsors of ours, man, and super just absolutely love this platform because it really creates a fun and exciting competition that connects people, right? And WannaParlay embodies the joy of winning, the heartbreak of almost winning, and all the other emotions you'll experience during competitions. It's from the brains of 2 Kansas State college football players, and it's about stacking legs, competing with real sports lovers like yourself, and getting real cash wins every single day. You can 1,000 times your money and cash out fast. Are you ready to get in on the game and flex those parlays, baby? Go ahead and download the app for iOS and Android and give you 1,000 match bonus when you use the code IBT at sign up. That's code IBT. You're going to get a 100%, not 1,000, 100% match bonus at WannaParlay. Link, of course, to that is in the episode description. One way to support us is support our sponsor. And all those people who are, in states where you can't legally bet yet, Elliot, WannaParlay, a great way to get invested in various gambling opportunities out there. So we appreciate them and all those types of pick 'em games, but specifically our friends over at WannaParlay that look at the pirate on that app. That's a good logo. That's a good logo. I like that. No one's ripping pirates. That's like I would think these guys are from like ECU. You know what I mean? That's an ECU type of logo.
Yeah, and their brand colors are purple too. I want to see the Pirates in Pittsburgh do pretty well here in a couple weeks. That'd be fun. WannaParlay, very generous with that 100% deposit match. 1,000% would be a lot. 1,000 times your money, 100% deposit match. Keep that.
Yes.
You don't want anybody expecting 1,000 times money. Funny that WannaParlay comes right before the bets. Parlays are exactly where we're starting off the week in our parking garage props. Man, I almost said parking garage parlays there. They're not all parlays, just a couple of them. We've already kind of talked about what we thought of the books this week. Some okay offerings in terms of odds, but March Madness, everything else going on, not as much in terms of offerings as we would like.
No, there certainly wasn't, and it was one of those weeks, specifically in the outright market, Elliot. I was really, really disappointed. Just like, why are 5 or 6 drivers under 10-1 to win? It makes it a really hard market to bet. So, it's something, again, I'm kind of keeping some units in the holster, see what happens on Saturday to parlay some more. There we go, parlay again, but turn those into more gambling opportunities on Sunday. Like I'm sniffing around last night, late in the evening. Not much going on, and watching. You check out Landman yet? You run any Landman?
Landman, no, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, give Landman a shot. Ripping a little Landman, looking at Chris just dropped the projections model. So that's when I kind of start the handicapping for the week, as once that's in, and going through that. And I'm like, oh man, like Cauchy's got a little 23-1 action on Cody Ware. I'm like, maybe I should get down on that, especially because like he had a P23, P24, something like that last season. I was like, I'm gonna sleep on that, and then I get up today, it's still up 23-1. Okay, I think I'm gonna bet that, and I start putting into the show sheet, and I look, and it goes from 23-1. They pull it, they bring it back an hour later, it's 9-1. So I lost all the value of my Cody Ware top 20 bet, Elliot. 23-1. That was gonna be the gainer of the week, but unfortunately not. So I'm pretty salty towards the books and the prediction markets this week, my friend.
Hey, I will say, Kelsey did you a favor there. A Cody Ware top 20 bet anywhere other than the super speedways. I mean, you're just throwing your money away at that point. The books
P23 here last year, Elliot. You're telling me like
again, guess what P23 is, Seth? That's not in the top 20. That's not cashing your bet.
That's value, dude. He's like 13-1 for a top 10. You're telling me I get 10 more spots and 10x more? What are you talking about?
13-1 for a top 10 is a terrible number too. I mean, it's unfortunate that there's that much of a gap, but it's just you have 35 teams and then you have Cody Ware. I vividly remember a conversation that we had on our way home from the first Pocono race we went to, where Rick Ware Racing, they were bringing in Justin Haley. They had Kaz Gralla running half the races. So we were like, man, how proud we are of Rick Ware Racing. They're investing, they're bringing in good drivers, and then they have thrown it all away, bringing Cody Ware back in. They've sold part of this team, but they're basically not going to even have a charter to run next year. Legacy's got their eyes on their third charter. Jimmy Johnson says, we're running it. Rick Ware, it was mostly down. We had a little bit of an up about that high, and then we're way down again. Cody Ware on the super speedways, maybe a decent value. And the thing about Ware too, it's going to be a race that has a little bit of unexpected things happening.
That's what I'm saying.
But Cody Ware's benefit to the unexpected things is when everyone wrecks in front of him at Daytona or Atlanta, and then he can move up a little bit. Any sort of debauchery that goes around in these races, Cody Ware is probably going to be the first person to figure it out.
No, he's back past it. If he ain't causing the wreck, he's missing the wrecks. I'll promise you that, because he's running 7 seconds behind everyone. Average finish of 23.0 in the spring. You're telling me that the books are thinking there's going to be chaos
races last year, this year?
He's had he's had 4 Darlington races total. The 2 spring races, P27 and P19. So, come on. At 23-1, that's a great number, dude. That's a great number. What are you talking about?
Get on it sooner then, if that's how you want to piss your money away, Seth. Well, anyway, you're gonna piss our money away. Speaking of that, I've got parlays on outrights to start my week. So you can make fun of me if these don't hit. But that's how I got invested in the outright market, is we have guys running multiple series. And for me, I know last week didn't quite work out with Kyle Larson, but Larson is inevitable. Running the Cup and the O'Reilly race, plus 1790 is what this came out to at Caesars for the outrights in both of these. And races like this, high tire wear, unexpected sort of things happening, high horsepower that you can handle. It really favors the veterans, and it really favors the dirt guys. It's going to be unpredictable, and these are the guys that are going to be able to figure it out the soonest. Not to mention how good he is at ripping the fence. It's guys like Larson and Reddick and guys like that are 10 out of 10 at running the wall without necessarily biffing it. The only problem is Larson in the spring race the last 2 years, he has biffed it. He's going to want to avoid the embarrassment that he's had the last 2 springs, especially last year when he was about 1,500 laps down and crashed with 4 laps to go, messing around with Bubba Wallace. Didn't work out well for him. Didn't work out well for Ryan Blaney and my outright ticket either, that we'll talk about later. But in any case, he's had good stats here, just not the last 2 springs. Won the fall of 2023 here, P4 in the fall of 2024. 7 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and as I mentioned before, 1,050 laps led here. You want to talk about his O'Reilly races too. 6 out of 7 races here he's finished in the top 7, including a 2023 win with Kaulig Racing. I have more faith in him winning the O'Reilly race than the Cup race because it was supposed to be Bowman's race in the 88, and I know I'm going to have to watch Kyle Larson win that race, so I may as well throw some money on it, watch him win the Cup race too.
I don't like this at all. I'm gonna be like, I'm kind of fading Larson this week a little bit, man. And maybe part of that is like just the finishes, and he's had speed here, right? It's just like we got a lot of variables in this race, and sometimes when there's a lot of variables, it's kind of where I tend to fade Kyle Larson a little bit, right? Like he's someone that like when the stars align, the stars align, and the stars do not feel like they're aligning here. Comes in 6 in the betting projections, but all the way down at 79%. Like that's just too low for me, based on the statistics, to get invested with someone at the price tags he's rolling out with. Like, I think if you're going to bet it, this is the way to bet it. Or just go slap, a couple units on the Xfinity outright. I think that would be okay as well. And sorry if I made a sour face there. I switched from the Trulies into the Happy Dads. I'm going to be honest, Elliot. You were at my house maybe about a year and a half ago, and I think this might be the Happy Dad from there, because I'm gonna have to ask Katie. Like, it was kind of a weird poll that she would buy Happy Dads for a trip too, in addition to Trulies. This might be a year-old Happy Dad. It ain't good. It don't, and it's also pineapple flavored. This ain't good. So no, it's a no for me, dog, on Larson, and it's a no for me, dog, on pineapple Happy Dads as well.
Yeah, from a happy dad to a sad Jim over there at IBT headquarters. And the thing with Larson too, what's bringing him down in the model is running like complete garbage the last 2 spring races.
Yeah.
But you think about it, he was running the throwback cars. He maybe had a little more Terry Labonte in him that he wanted to admit. Terry Labonte late in his career, maybe not the guy you wanted to bet, but now just running that plain old Hendrick Cars car both Saturday and Sunday. Larson, going to be one of your guys. My other parlay, though, if it's not Larson, I mentioned your veterans, your dirt guys, your guys that can rip the fence. That leads me to Christopher Bell. I don't think the bell stops ringing all weekend with this bet. Tap me up for the old Kyle Busch weekend sweep at nearly a 300-1 over on Caesars, running in all 3 of the races this week, and has had varying success at Darlington as well. We just talked about how he was better than the finish said, and better than he looked here last fall. The 2 Cup races before that finished 3rd, so pretty good runs here for the 20. Toyota is the class of the field right now. Bell, 2nd, 3rd best Toyota guy right now, behind Hamlin and maybe Tyler Reddick, depending on where you're at. Maybe this is a race where Reddick could be a little better than him too. In any case, though, for his career, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s here. Won the O'Reilly race here fall of 2024. Ran it last spring and pulled it before crashing out. The biggest problem here might be the truck race. He hasn't run the trucks here. The trucks were not ripping Darlington when he was full-time down there. And in the second Friesen truck, that's probably the worst equipment he's going to be in all weekend. And we've seen the second Friesen truck have some speed, almost won Daytona, as well as Friesen running well in some other races. But that Gibbs 19, top of the class, I think it's the last race that it won't be Brent Cruz in the 19. We know that car's fast. We just saw Chase Briscoe rip it to P2, and we know his 20 car is quick too. This is one of those where, again, we've only seen Kyle Busch do it, and we saw Kyle Larson come very close last year at Homestead, short of a bad restart away. I think somebody not named Kyle can do it. I think it could be Chris, and at a 300-1, it certainly would be nice for the wallet.
At 300-1, like, it's kind of almost worth a little sprinkle. Just like, hey, I want to be on the right side of history in this one, because it would suck to miss that.
That's all I put on it was a little sprinkle, but at 300-1, a little sprinkle turns into big plus units.
Was this a manufactured one by the books, or did you do this customly? Okay.
I was kidding myself. I don't know if it was offered custom. Caesars is about the only place I can parlay outrights anymore. Maybe I'm just not trying hard enough on the other books, but I can get it done at Caesars. And I was putting it. I didn't even realize what the odds were. Obviously, put it together, you get a 300-1. More specifically, plus 29825. I'm down for it.
Okay. Also here, Jamie in the chat saying, hit that like button. Yeah, that's the easiest way to support us, guys. Hit that like button. Also, while you're at it, make sure you're hitting the link there in the episode description to go find the new Backroad channel as well. That's the easiest way to support us there, because we have a lot of bonus content we don't want you to miss over there. So if you can subscribe there in addition to the main IBT channel, we would appreciate that. Thank you so much for pointing that out there, Jamie, saying he's taking notes. You learn. Hopefully you're taking notes on the Cody Ware pick here. But Bob Bodner, old faithful Bob, with you once again. Elliot riding with you, saying it's a no for him on the Cody. Come on, we were sweating. Bob was right. He was asking me some advice last week on his one and done. I said, hey, I'm riding out of top 20 on our guy Riley Herbst. So put him in the one and done, and he did, and he didn't come through for as much as we wanted to, but.
Nope. Hey, we got an IBT Racing Family one and done league. I think there's 7 of us in there. I've been first or second all year long. I don't remember if I'm first or if I'm second, but going pretty well for me over there, thankfully.
Nice. What else you got here, Elliot?
Yeah, I'll bring up my other outright before we start to get into your outright placement mixes here. So I've got the parlays, of course, on Larson and Bell. That's a good way to bet when the odds are a little low on the outrights. Another good way to bet is just use a boost that a book is gracious enough to give you. BetMGM has been especially gracious with me the last couple of weeks. I don't know what it is, but long may it continue.
They like you. Think you're cute, man.
It's just because I was betting everywhere else and couldn't get on BetMGM until a year ago. And I finally was able to get on there. But so the Denny Hamlin outright boosted it up to plus 687 on BetMGM. Darlington's always one of his favorites, and he really is the perfect driver for these chaotic races where you need to manage your stuff. Need I remind you, Bristol 2024, Denny Hamlin won that race, managing your tires the best out of anybody. And Darlington, one of his favorite places as well. Next gen, 1 win and 5 top 7 finishes for his career. That's 5 total wins here, 14 top 5s, 20 top 10s, 1,022 laps led, and he's led in the last 12 races here. So that's every next gen race here he's led laps in. Not to mention every year when he'd run the O'Reilly Series, he'd run this race every year, and he'd win it just about every year. Couple times in there he failed inspection, didn't get to keep the trophy, but was able to go out there, win the race. Top of the model, definitely important for Denny Hamlin, and he's at the top of the momentum too, winning last week at Vegas.
Yeah,
little Dennis action back to back, boosted to almost 7-1. My other outright play for the week right here.
Yeah, if you can find a boost, like I know that DraftKings right now also like anything above 3-1, they're like their daily drop boost or whatever. That would be a way to maybe play this too, because this is actually a nice number. This is actually a nice number and making me kind of reconsider maybe if I should also, because last week I was thinking like, hey, I'm seeing plus money for Denny Hamlin top 5s. That feels like a pretty good lock for me. I didn't get invested with it. I just went with and I thought about the outright too on Sunday. I ended up just with the under grid position 5.5 because I got Larson, I got Bell, and I got Hamlin all in one bet, and I was able to boost that to plus money. So that's what I went with. But this might be another way to get invested with Hammy. I'm going to see what happens. Maybe on Sunday morning, I can see myself maybe going with the top 5 market for him. But there's also another way I think to get down. Apparently, your sportsbooks like you a lot more because they're giving you a lot more fun things this time of year.
Yeah, I probably would have waited too if I didn't have this boost. His number more around like a 5-1, 5.5-1.
Yeah,
close to a 7-1. I like it. And with Denny Hamlin too, if you're wanting to wait around on, especially on an outright, it's not just that there'll be guys who mess up and may crash out in practice. It could be, oh man, I had a tire go down. I'm Denny Hamlin. I had a tire go down. I have to go to backup car and start in the back. That outright could be pushing close to an 8-1, 9-1, if not further, if he's got to start out back. So you could kind of, for lack of a better word, you kind of fall ass backwards into a Denny number if he gets unlucky on Saturday. If he runs closer to the front on Saturday, like I think he will, though, 7-1, maybe even that 5-1 may not be a number you can pick back up again. You'd have to pivot to the placement props then. Worked for me last week, though. Top 3 hits just as nice when you win as it does when you finish second or third.
Absolutely.
All right, so you got a couple. I don't think they're parlays, but you got outrights and then placement props on a couple of Toyota guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start this out here with a Ty Gibbs outright 30-1 at DraftKings. I also have a top 10 number on him at plus 125. You were waiting on FanDuel to see maybe if we can get something a little bit longer on that top 10. I know you have a boost over there too that are giving out to you. So I'm a half unit down here on the outright and then 1.2 units down on this top 10 just to kind of hedge myself here. Likely this outright doesn't come through, but man, like you just got to give Ty Gibbs like ton of credit this season, right? Like he has come out of the gate super hot. I was high on him coming back into the season after being down on him a season ago. 10th in points right now, 14.6 average finish, the 11th best. And he didn't really have great runs on the super speedway, right? But he has qualified super well, and he has 3 straight top 5 finishes, Elliot. So like he's putting these complete weekends together that we're wanting from the young lad. So very impressed with him. And I think this week could be that elusive first win. I really do. I have the over 0.5 season win total on him. I think at plus 140 that I'm riding. So I'm just trying to double down here a little bit. 7th in the projections with a solid B grade this week. That's great for me. 9th in career average finish at the Lady in Black, 10th at Comtrack's average finish last season as well. So just good at this particular style of track. And in the spring race specifically as well, 4th in the next gen loop data score that Chris does, and also has a 9.0 next gen average finish, which is tied for the 3rd best. Only 1 of 4 drivers in single digits here. This is a guy who specifically in the spring is really, really fast. So I think he's going to come out here. I think he's going to be good. And I've seen him as low for 22-1. So I think anything higher than 25-1 is great value. And the only place you can find anything better 25-1 is DK, actually. DraftKings, man, throwing out a 30-1, so I'm definitely invested there. And I've also seen his top 10, whether that was prediction markets or sports books, closer to that even money, even minus 110. I think your friends over at MGM, who love you so much, they also have that at minus 110 for the top 10. So plus 125 for a guy who's done it, handsomely in the last 3 weeks, for the top 5 even. I'll gladly, get a little plus money, a little quarterback on my dollar there.
Hey, I'm not arguing against Ty Gibbs with you. Some weeks I would, can't do it this year. Right now I am down on the top 5 plus 350 on BetMGM. And like you said, I'm waiting on FanDuel top 10s as of right before the show. They weren't out yet. They were just starting to put up placement props. That'll be my main unit share on this. The top 5, just more of a sprinkle. He's been top 5 the last 3 races, so you can't really argue with that. He's had some of that Gibbs momentum too. I think the win's coming. I just don't think it's a race like this. Maybe, we got Kansas in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's
a race
true.
like that could be great.
Yeah.
The problem with Ty Gibbs and high tire wear races, the beginning of the run, he looks great. Leads a boatload of laps. We saw it at both of the Bristol tire wear races over the last couple of years. Some other short track races. Looks really awesome. And then fades because managing his tires in a cup car.
Not this year, though. You know what I mean? Like Las Vegas and Phoenix, he's had consistent speed, although he was getting into trouble on a couple of those runs.
Those are more normal cup races. And that's what I'm saying. When we get a normal, I think Kansas is probably the next normal kind of 1.5 mile track. We got like Martinsville, Bristol coming up. Tracks like that are different, and he'll be a favorite there in different ways. I don't think he's going to win in either of those places too. But the high tire wear, especially crazy stuff, I just don't know if Gibbs has it yet, because Denny Hamlin's been doing it for 25 years. Gibbs has been doing it for less than 5 years. But in any case, I think he's going to run well. Obviously got a lot of speed at this place. You mentioned P7 in the model. Last 2 spring races here, a P2 and a P9. And the biggest thing for Ty Gibbs, he talked about after one of the races recently about how happy he was to have his team really have a lot of faith in him. We know Chris Gabehart, it's being aired out publicly in a lawsuit. We know Chris Gabehart didn't have a lot of faith in Ty Gibbs. They brought in guys who have faith in him, who believe Ty Gibbs is the man. He's been kind of showing he might be the man the last couple of weeks, dare I say. Like I said, that Ty Gibbs win could be coming pretty soon. This is just a bridge too far here for Darlington. I will say, though, for everyone in the diecast industry, the merch industry, all that kind of stuff, if he were to get his first win in monster colors, you probably don't get a diecast. You probably don't get the t-shirt, all that fun stuff. Sirius XM, they'll get a race version diecast out there. You won't have to mess with it, like taking the Coke logos off of the Ryan Priest Clash.
Yeah.
So I would at least appreciate that for all the Ty Gibbs fans, as they get to really celebrate it and spend money on all the merch to put on their shelves behind me like I have.
Yeah, I know there's a Ty Gibbs hive out there on the internet right now, so I'm sure they'd be buzzing if this comes through. And speaking of buzzing, Elliot, the chat absolutely going ablaze right here. Blaze Wolf also on that Ty Gibbs train. Bob Bodner riding with us as well. Andrew, he's liking maybe a little long shot on Busher and Kez, and I think that's right where our guy Stan's going. So I'm only betting on the old guys this week. They know how to race on high tire wear tracks, and they remember the higher horsepower. Hey, that's a great point there. And Chris also saying, you talked about 3 of the 4 JGR guys. I'm on the one who you haven't brought up yet. Hey, I love me some Chase Briscoe this week. I just don't know how to bet him specifically, where to get invested on, just because of what we've seen so far this season from. But appreciate all the comments, especially Willow. I think a first-time chatter in here as well. Willow, welcome to the back row. Welcome to the IBT family. Thank you so much for making some time for us on this beautiful Thursday evening.
The thing with Briscoe, too, great at Darlington, obviously, has won the last 2 years here. He's busted his ass in multiple races the last couple of weeks. Speeding penalties and pit road issues and smacking the wall and running into trouble. Briscoe's just not in a place where, I can almost visualize it right now. Briscoe's running third or fourth and managing those tires, slips up and busts his ass, breaks a toe link, and then he's gone the rest of the day. I don't think Denny Hamlin's doing that. I feel like maybe even Ty Gibbs isn't doing that. I love Stan's point. Betting on the veterans is exactly why I'm not touching a Ty Gibbs outright. But we do see in these races, it is the veterans that win, but you do see the young cats kind of get in that back half of the top 5, top 10, which is where I have more of my money for guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's won 2 of the last 3 here, so it's hard to really put him down too far, but there are some of these advanced metrics that do put him down, as far as loop data, average running position, driver rating, those types of things. Some of that's, the SHR equipment, right? But it's just tough, especially like you're not getting value on him in the outright market, in my opinion, right now either. Like if you're getting a discount on Chase Briscoe because of how he's run so far this season, like I'm totally there, but like he's minus 300 at some books for a top 10. His outright numbers are close to Denny Hamlin's here, close to Kyle Larson's at 7-1. Best number you're finding out there. It's just too short for me. If we were getting the discount for the early season slump, I'd be in, but we're just not getting the discount right now.
No, and it'd probably take like an 11-1 for me to think about a Briscoe this week, and we're
10.
Just not.
Maybe a 10. I think I might bite on it, but yeah. Elliot, though, I do want to address one more comment that leads me right into my next play as well, and that is Bob Bodner, who's saying, I'm liking Wallace if he makes the race as well. Yeah, I definitely like some...
Why wouldn't you make the race, Bob? I don't know.
Maybe just in one piece. Maybe means qualify well.
Yeah,
right?
maybe like makes it through in one piece. But yeah, Bubba Wallace, it's been the Toyotas all year long, man, and we got one more Toyota outright to discuss.
Yeah, I'm just going back to the Yoder well, man. They've paid handsomely in the past few weeks for me here on the outright 25-1 at DK. Thank you very much. Also on the top 10 there, plus 120 at Bet365, half a unit on the outright, 1.5 units on that top 10 as well. And great numbers we're getting here, man, because like he's pretty much even money or even minus money for a top 10 finish everywhere else. I know you're a big fan of Bet365 and the odds they offer specifically in the placement props category, where you're going to bet, extra quarterback on your dollar here. And the outright, like I think it's going off more appropriately at 20-1 at places like FanDuel, but I still don't think that's short enough for Bubba Wallace. Like I think he should legitimately be probably a guy 15, 16-1, maybe shorter here this week, because he's just another driver that you got to raise the glass to, man. Like hot start for this guy, right? I'm not going to raise my happy dad pineapple because this shit sucks. But like if you have a drink out there, raise the Bubba Wallace, man, because second in the points, second best average finish right now, 8.8. 1 or 2 drivers with 4 top 10s this season. And his worst finish is P11 at COTA. Like this guy's not even a road course guy. And all of a sudden he's got some speed at COTA. 23-11, locked the hell in right now. They're bringing rockets to the track every single weekend. Disappointing to see what happened to T. Reddick at the end there. I'm not sure, again, what happened there because Fox didn't show it. But, like, don't look now, but, like, it feels like Bubba and this 23-11 team, what's my biggest criticism of them been for, 3 years, Elliot? They don't make either post-qualifying adjustments or mid-race adjustments. And they're doing it because they're qualifying terribly. Right? Like outside of last week where they were P4 to start, they have not been good right now off the truck, but he seems to have speed late in runs right now, late in races, which that's been my big issue here with someone like Bubba Wallace. So I just think when there are this many drivers that are priced at 10-1, you talked about them, the Bells, the Larson, the Hamlin. I saw a comment earlier that said basically like, hey, I like all these drivers. I think all these drivers could win. And I do think there's probably 7 to 8 to 9 drivers who could win this week. So I'm just taking some long shots and hoping they pay off here, especially for a guy like Bubba, 4th in the projections this week, man. So if we're trusting, the big brain of Chris Colicchio and all the great data he's pulling in, I think this is easily the best value on the board, Elliot. 3rd in average next-gen finish here the past 3 seasons, 4th in driver rating in that span, number 1 in starting position the past 2 seasons. So likely this could be another race he does get off the truck well, despite, slow qualifying rounds out at the super speedways. Also, they're on the road course and in Phoenix as well. So I think if you extend this out to the entire next gen era, he's 7th in total speed rankings from our boy Ryan over there at iFantasyRace.com. Also 4th in average running position. I love those 2 stats. You know me, total speed rankings, average running position, and like, still pretty dang good at the comps too, right? Average 8th in average finish last year at the comp tracks, 5th in driver rating, 11th in starting position. So these comp, we don't have a ton of them for Darlington, but he's been good there too. So I just think it's great value on Bubba Wallace in every single market this week. He's matched up with some pretty tough people. I would, maybe look to go head to head with him someplace as well. I'm going to be playing him in fantasy this week. So yeah, I'm all in on Bubba Wallace this week. 23-11. Let's raise him, baby.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob, for the reminder too. I brought up the comments. His wife is on baby watch, and Bubba has said he's not missing that. He missed the birth of his first child, is not missing the birth of his second child. So
okay.
I could very well take him out of the ride. Thank you for the reminder there. I've been too busy.
These would get voided then.
Yes. Yeah. I've been too busy apparently being down in the dumps about Bowman and paying attention to March Madness to have remembered that. Thank you for the reminder there. So that would mean he'd miss the race. But if he is in that 23 car, I think there's a lot of upside to Bubba as well. He's not one of those guys that's been proven as a, old vet, old goat, can really manage the tires, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to mess it up either. I think he's a very solid driver, going to take care of his stuff in a situation like that. I don't think that the current version of Bubba Wallace is going to drive over his head, end up putting that car in a worse position than it is. And right now they've been putting him in really good positions, 23-11, really solid this year. Bubba Wallace, one of the 3, 4, 5 most consistent drivers this year, and seems like it's going to continue. I really don't think they're going to fall off. It's been in a lot of different track types and a lot of faith in the 23 car going forward. Outright's a bridge too far. Top 10's one I might get on. You mentioned too my love for Bet365. I got 3 more cup bets, and they're all from Bet365. So it starts with a placement prop. Ryan Blaney top 5 plus 175 over at Bet365. And it's been Toyota getting all the attention, but Ford has not been that bad either. You look at Darlington races, I think 9 of the last 11, something like that, won by either Toyota or Ford. And some of the Ford numbers look attractive this week as well. I have money on a Ford outright too, mostly because of Blaney, a little bit because of those RFK guys. Keselowski, a winner here a couple of years ago. Buscher running for the win there as well. But for Blaney, a top 5 here. Again, if the car's going to run all right, if there's not going to be anything stupid that happens, Kyle Larson doesn't wreck when he's 3,000 laps down and put him in a worse position. Ryan Blaney top 5 feels pretty good. And last year, thankfully, still ended up with what was at the time my biggest outright hit ever before Blaney won at Phoenix, and had hit the Denny Hamlin outright there last year. But if Blaney would have won, I would have won more money. So I like winning money on Ryan Blaney apparently, and this week I won a little more. 1 top 5, 4 top 10s here, 8th in the model. But again, kind of like Larson, his average finish, some of those stats brought down. He crashed out in both of the 2004 races. One of those was Martin Truex Jr.'s fault. So again, you don't have a guy run into you. You don't have your motor blow. You don't have a guy wreck when he's 8 million laps down. Ryan Blaney going to be a guy who runs pretty well. And again, Ford, they really get dumped on because there's not, Toyota, there's 6 or 7 Toyotas that could win. Chevrolet, 5 or 6. Ford, there's maybe 1 or 2. But Ryan Blaney is right up there with the best of them. Can run fast on every track type. Absolutely motor through the field. Even if he doesn't qualify super great, he's one of those guys that even if he starts 15th, I'm not counting him out of this race, and especially not of the top 5.
I wonder what a Ryan Blaney top 10 you can find out there, on some of these more niche ones, because
I think at one of the books it was in the minus 200 or minus 300.
I guess minus 175 is the best I'm showing right now. So maybe you could shop that around and go to Bet365, because if they're giving you a plus 175 on the top 5, I have to imagine maybe they're closer to minus 150. That's something I would consider. I can't get to top 5 on him, but I've even seen him floating around there. He is obviously the favorite in the top Ford market, but I think it's him or one of the RFK guys, right? That's pretty much how I feel heading Darlington this week, that it's one of those guys, Buscher, Kez, or it's Ryan Blaney. So I don't mind maybe trying to get invested that way. Top 5, not specifically the market I like this week for Blaney, but I do agree that you're getting a nice discount on him because of those past errors here, his fault or not, at Darlington, right? You look at the average finish. I mean, it's absolutely atrocious here, Elliot. It's not good whatsoever. He has only cashed this ticket 1 time in the next gen era. However, you're getting the discounted price because of it, unlike Chase Briscoe, where we couldn't really justify the cost.
Yeah, in the top 10, I bet 365 minus 200. So I can't justify that. I can justify the top 5 a lot better.
Pair with John Rahm, top 5. Pair it with it. Parlay it up. Let's go. Rombo, Ryan Parlay. That's how you go.
That if I could bet on golf, it might be something I would consider. We have to speak in hypotheticals in that case.
Yeah.
So I got 2 more bets, and I am riding with the Legacy Motor Club. Eric Jones, the bet I'm going to bring up, top Toyota, steep price there, 28 to 1 over on Bet365. I have his top 10 too. I'm more confident in that, but a 28 to 1 with how well Jones runs here, kind of worth a little sprinkle too. In good equipment, again, this is a stat I bring up with Jones. Legacy is making its way further toward good equipment. They're not at Gibbs level. They're not at 2311 level. They're building their own notebook. Jimmy Johnson is putting the time and the money in. These guys, Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek, are solid young drivers in good equipment. Eric Jones never finished outside the top 8 when he was with JGR, and that includes the win in the 2019 Southern 500. When Petty GMS at the time was not good equipment, 2022 Southern 500. Eric Jones to victory lane. That's in the next gen era. Legacy's a lot better than they were. Do I think he's going to have a shot at the win? No, not in a race like this.
Sure.
Not quite yet with Legacy, with what's going on here. But P3 last fall, both of these guys, great runs in last year's Southern 500, P3 and P4 for the 43 and the 42. And in the next gen, 3 top 10s here for Eric Jones. So again, the top 10, I think it was somewhere in the 4 or 5 to 1 neighborhood. I'll double check on that in just a second. But the top Toyota at 28 to 1-2 would be a fun little long shot and not completely out of the realm of possibility. Again, you could see some guys bust their ass, whether of their own volition or not. You could see a Ford in Blaney or a Chevrolet in Larson take up a couple of those top spots. William Byron, a guy we haven't touched on tonight, a guy who could take up some of those top spots as well. On his best day, you could see Eric Jones running in that top 6 to 8 range, which if things go right, could be in that top Toyota range. Jones, one of those guys, he's probably considered a veteran at this point. He certainly knows how to handle his stuff at this track. It's going to be an advantage to him in an unpredictable race weekend.
Yeah, I do like Eric Jones for DFS and for fantasy purposes this week. Like, he's someone that as soon as the top 20 market was out there, I was actually scouring for specifically. Juiced all hell. Like, honestly, most of the top 20, unless you want to get in on a Cody Ware, like you're probably not getting in on much there in the prediction markets with the top 20s. But no, I mean, this is a track for Eric Jones. I think, I mean, you would have to have like, the world would have to like borderline end, I think, for like all the top Toyotas to get knocked out. But this is a place where Eric Jones,
and I'm not even saying they have to get knocked out. This could very well be, say it's like Blaney, Larson, Byron. You have Jones 4th, and then you can have all the other Toyotas right behind him, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I think it would
there's a world we can end up like the top 10. It's at plus 250. Sorry, I wish there was a plus 400, plus 500. Maybe when FanDuel pops up, FanDuel hates Legacy for some reason and gives.
They do.
Very, very well could double down on this if that number does come out. But at a plus 250 top 10 for Jones, I like that a lot too. Top Toyota, more fun one to bring up, a little crazier one to bring up, a little something extra to bring up. So
yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. Like, Eric Jones is interesting, but like I'd rather take, if I'm putting unit share on a top Toyota ticket 28 to 1, I'm just going Cody Ware top 20, 23 to 1, baby. Let's go.
I understand you look at it one way or the other, it could be just as impossible. So 45 to 1 outright. If this were a normal Darlington race, I might kind of like that a little more.
Back in the day, yeah, I think he's thrown it back in the day. He had gotten a nice cash out there. Yeah, definitely. And Andrew coming with you on a Jones top 10 as well. And speaking of coming with us, Jamie here, remind everyone, 20 people live right now watching, which we appreciate that support so much. Please show us your support though, because only 8 likes. So if you're doing, like, I listen to a lot of YouTube and a lot of podcasts while I'm doing stuff around the house, whether it's like mowing the lawn or like, stoking the fire, cleaning, cooking, whatever. So if you're doing something like that and you're not at your phone, don't worry about liking and subscribing. But like, if you are at your phone, we would really appreciate you just giving this video a quick thumbs up, subscribing both here to the main channel. And also, if you can hit over, we got a link in the episode description for that sub channel as well for all that bonus content. But again, if you're sweeping, if you're cooking, if you're making sweet love to your wife or husband, don't worry about it. But like, if you have the hand, if you have the free hand or fingers, we'd appreciate that.
If you're doing some of those things and listening to us, you got bigger problems than we do wanting to bet Eric Jones top Toyotas or Cody Ware top Toyotas. You can clip that too. Don't worry about liking and subscribing. Calling out the viewers here. But in any case,
no, they're busy. Like, if their hands are free, I'm saying, like, come on.
You don't want to know what their hands are doing, Seth. I don't want to know what their hands are doing. We got a group bet here on John Hunter Nemechek. Bet365 Group F is where you can find him. He's the long shot of this group at 4 to 1. He's going up against Ryan Preece, Austin Cindric, and AJ Allmendinger. And this is a pretty well-matched group. It doesn't really feel like there's a strong favorite. Doesn't really feel like anybody's lacking behind here. Legacy Motor Club, though, like I said, they're benefiting from whatever tips Eric Jones must be giving them. And Jimmy Johnson, too, a former winner here. They must be helping them a lot. It wasn't just Jones that was really good here, like I just mentioned last fall. 42 was right behind him in P4. JHN also, the first race back from COVID in 2020, he ran 9th here in the 38 car. So knows how to get around Darlington. He's the long shot of the group for a fair reason, I feel like. RFK has been a hot story this year. Ryan Preece, a guy that certainly can make do on some worn tires. Austin Cindric, one of those guys that he feels middle of the pack kind of everywhere. He can be really good on his day, or he can go out there and run 31st, and I wouldn't be surprised. AJ Allmendinger, really impressive in the Kaulig equipment for what it is this year, and he's had some good Darlington runs. But again, I'm just not sure the equipment and a race like this. I've got a lot of faith in Legacy and being the long shot of the group. If this was JHN as the favorite, if he was like, I think Preece is at like a plus 175 or a plus 200, I don't really like it. But 4-1 is the long shot of this group. These are three guys he can definitely beat, even without having P4 speed.
Yeah, I would rather just take like a top 10 on him. Like I'm seeing a 5-1 right now. Maybe FanDuel, as you mentioned, they'll throw out a 6 or a 7 because like I do kind of like Ryan Preece. Like I think Preece, Cindric, and Dinger, they're all like top 15 cars. So I think you're gonna have to, maybe place P11, P12, P10 to cash this. So at that point, just give me the top 10. But now you got me thinking like I'm actually going to keep my head on a swivel for a JHN top 10 because I forgot of how strong, because, not high up in the metrics. Like he doesn't have great finishes here in the next gen era, aside from legitimately the, I guess it's pre-next gen era, that post-COVID race, and then during COVID race, I guess it was. And then also last year, P4 here in the fall. So yeah, those are the two things you're really hanging your hat on for sure.
I think that all four of these guys have that possibility to run around the top 10, but it's almost just as predictable. JHN could run 17th and win this group. I mean, Preece is not a guy who's on every week. We talked about Cindric and Allmendinger not being that guy either. I feel like all three RFK cars in the top 15 would be kind of a stretch. I'm kind of okay with JHN running in that. Even if he's in that 15th to 20th range, it's still a group he can win.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I understand. It justifies the price. Like he might be someone specifically I'm looking for fantasy this week too in DFS line. So I think he can move up a little bit.
At least this one's not as wild as Cody Ware top 20 or Eric Jones top 20.
Sure. We've dialed back it a little bit.
All right. So in the lower series, I don't have much of anything right now. It's been really tough to bet the lower series this year because especially when you have a lot of the big guys, I would say Corey Heim is a big guy in the truck. So the Cup guys coming down, they really eat into the odds, and it's tough because it really feels like they're the favorites. So it's really hard to find some really valuable numbers here. You've got a decent one for the O'Reilly series, though, to give us something before we get to the head-to-head contest.
It's super hard this time of year because you have all the Cup guys coming down to, a lot of these series, right? And even Corey Heim making spot starts in truck, which like can really like
he's the favorite on the books right now, not even running full-time anywhere.
Right. And it can really like help you like get some value on some other guys in the races, but it can also like jumble things up because those Cup guys often take spots inside the top 3, inside the top 5, right? So it makes the window that much smaller to get a ticket to the window, right? So for me, I'm just on the Justin Allgaier top 5 minus 125 at Bet365. I like it quite a bit, 1.5 units. So one of my bigger bets for the week so far. This guy's just been really, really good, man. When we've been at Darlington, right? He's someone that I continually want to try to get invested with because you look what he did last April here. Oh, he goes out and he finishes 3rd, right? Really dominant run, finishes stage 2 in first, stage 1 in second, 56 laps led. And then, you just go back through these finishes again, P10 in 2024, but he was top 5 in both those stages. You look back at the first race of 2024, wins that race, sweeps the stages, 119 laps led. Like the only time that the worst finish Justin Allgaier has since 2021, Elliot, at this track is 10th. And aside from that, it's all pretty much P5s. It's a crap ton of wins. It's 3 wins to be specific. And you look at what he did last year in this track specifically, average running position of 3.8 in this race. That was a race that, yeah, we had Chase Elliott in that race. Yeah, we had guys like Ross Chastain, like Christopher Bell, and he was still holding his own, going out there, leading 56 laps, spending 96.6% of laps inside the top 15 as well. Mid-race, he was leading this thing. So he's just someone, he's been dominating the series so far this season as well. This is his bread and butter. So, and pianos have stopped falling all of a sudden for Justin Allgaier, it seems like a little bit. So, knock on wood here, but yeah, give me a little Justin Allgaier top 5, minus 125. I've seen for as low as minus 145, minus 150. So I'll gladly take minus 125 from 365.
Yeah, and he's the series regular that's probably going to be the easiest to make the money on. Top 5, I like him a lot, even with all those Cup guys in the race. And I'll say this too, if you're thinking about Allgaier on the Cup side, we know the 48 team has its ups and downs. 48 team does not have a lead lap finish still.
Yeah.
What are we, 5-6 races in? Doesn't matter who's driving it. They haven't been able to make it work. Pretty terrible run at Vegas for him there. But with how Alex Bowman has run at Darlington, Allgaier will probably run better than Alex would have at Darlington with how the last couple of years have gone. I don't do a lot of DFS. I'm assuming Allgaier is probably going to be at a fair price, especially for Hendrick equipment. There's no top 15 market. Maybe if there's an Allgaier top 20 number, maybe that's something potentially to get invested in the prediction market.
Ooh, actually, that's a good call.
That might not be that bad if there's still some books that are throwing out Bowman odds, even though it's already been announced. The earliest he could race again is the middle of April. So if you get the prediction markets that are on it, Allgaier in that category, or if you get him in a group against some kind of mid dudes, maybe worth it. The 48 team would normally be a write-off here. Darlington, one of Alex's 3 worst tracks, probably in the next gen. Allgaier going to provide more value. Yeah,
absolutely agreed with that. Looks like Hunter saying he has a couple units on Heim outright on Kalshi as well. Good to see people using those prediction markets there. What are you getting over there, Hunter? X your money on Kalshi. Would love to hear what they have Heim listed at. And also Andrew saying I don't think Heim has his old pit crew. Seems like he lost positions on pit road earlier this season. That is one of the handicaps we have to factor in for Corey Heim is, you have guys like Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, who just have way, way better pit crews, I feel like, than what old Corey Heim's coming into, Elliot.
And specifically, Heim doesn't have that 11 team that has proven to be one of the best in the garage. That's all with Caden Honeycutt. Heim gets, I don't know what they've changed. The 5 car last year was Tony Breitinger. Obviously, that car has run better than Tony Breitinger could drive it to this year. I don't know what kind of crew it is over there. But yeah, definitely not that same number 11 team that is benefiting Caden Honeycutt this year rather than Heim.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to the head-to-head matchups contest here. So Chris is still our main man here. He's 5 for 5. He's doing an unbelievably good job over there. Thankfully, we had some other folks hit. I would have been just one behind him if Sheldon Creed didn't race like an asshole and jump, because that's what happened and keeps me 2 behind there. But I'm in good company here with Kyle, Lars, Blaze Wolf, CJ, all at 3. Seth, you're at 2, so you're kind of getting ahead here. Jake, Rod, Trav, each with a point each. Others still waiting to get on the board. Chris has been the dominant force here. I'm feeling good about catching him and getting close because I am continuing to fade Connor Zilic. I'm going Josh Berry minus 140 over on Bet365 over Zilic. Now, it's a bit of a wild number. I don't have any coin on this right now. I don't think. Maybe I do with my cards in the Discord. If I do, I'll figure it out when I win or lose the bet. Berry minus 140. The last 3 times he's been here, he's crashed all 3 times. Hasn't worked out very well. But he's the kind of guy who Darlington and him would get along. And it showed in the spring of 2024. They ran 3rd. Really good run for him and Rodney Childers here. Doesn't have Childers on the box, but I don't think he's going to crash 4 times in a row. And that's probably all he's going to need to beat Connor Zilic. Trackhouse, short of SVG, has not had speed, and Darlington is not going to be an SVG kind of track. Zilic is having trouble adjusting to I don't know if it's adjusting to the Trackhouse setups, to the next-gen car. Some of his radio last week alluded to just not being able to race well with the setup, not really enjoying what he's got going on over there in the Trackhouse 88. And I don't think 1 week is going to help him with that, especially the only rookie in a race that's going to be high veteran tire wear kind of stuff. This could be a really bad day for Connor Zilic. I may only need to top 25 out of Barry to win this matchup.
Yeah, I wouldn't start fading Connor Zilic when we get to the short tracks, right? Just based on the speed he showed at Bowman Gray. And we know these Trackhouse cars based on the speed we saw from Bross at Coda off the truck. And just the SVG comes with every single week that I'm not fading them at short tracks. I'm not fading them at road courses, but pretty much everything else right now feels like they are a bit of a fade. So I'm okay with this bet. This is one that I think now we're getting to the point where we can kind of cross Connor Zilic probably off of being very competitive at an intermediate this season and having a chance to win. If he's going to, cash that win total that I have, I don't remember if you ended up coming with me on that or not, but it's going to be at a short track or it's going to likely be on a road course. Maybe he can pull something out of his rear end on a super speedway, but definitely the intermediates, I feel a lot sketchier than I did coming in the season. Just not enough speed from him and the learning curve being a bit much for the kid right now. But if there's anyone going to pull it out throughout the course of a season, 38, 36 races, it is Connor Zilic. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah, I do have his over half a win bet. But the nice thing is there's plenty more road courses and there's a couple more speedways. There's a couple more short tracks. It's just not going to happen on an intermediate. You're going to see either Ty Gibbs maybe get a first win, or your typical 7 to 10 guys who can win a mile and a half. And Connor Zilic is not one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know who might get in victory lane this season? Our old boy, Jesse Love. I'm going back to the well, -103 at Bet Rivers versus Brandon Jones here for my matchup head-to-head call of the week. I'm a unit and a half down invested in this as well, Elliot, because I get to do two of my favorite things, right? Bet Jesse Love in matchups. We've done it all season long already. Cashed 2 of them so far this season. Missed one as well. But also, I get to fade Brandon Jones, right? Love 5-0 against him this season, Elliot. 5.2 average finish. Jesse Love, even with all these big dogs coming down in the series, like it's been Allgaier, it's been Love, and it's been pretty much everyone else, it seems like, in this series right now. They are a step above. And Love is 2-1 against him here at Darlington. Like, I know Brando fast last season, right? Won this race out of kind of nowhere. Or boy Rod, I think this might have been the car lift he had on him last year.
That was Kansas, but Darlington did win too. And that's what gives me pause in this matchup, is just how good Brandon Jones has been here.
And I get it, but I think with this many big dogs, with Larson and Bell and Chastain and Gator, I think those are the cars who control this race, right? And I don't think that allows Brandon Jones to really stay at the front of the, like, when Brandon Jones can be up in the top 5 racing around, he's a good racer. But when he gets anything, like when he gets back even like P6 or further, man, he just feels like a loose cannon that you can't really trust. Either A, he can't hold on to his tires, he's ripping them a little too hot, or B, he's finding trouble somewhere, getting a little Jojo the Circus Clown on pit road. Something happens with Brandon Jones and I just don't think him being able to run top 5 specifically at a place he won last season is going to frustrate him. So this is nearly a pick 'em at Caesars. I think it's -114 a piece for this matchup. So to get Jesse Love all the way at -103, I just think it's a really good value at nearly even money.
Yeah, definitely one where betting the number more than the driver, it's basically as close to a coin flip as you can get, because Jesse Love's been really good this year too.
5-0 this season. What are you
doing? I'm talking about just at Darlington. Brandon Jones is good at Darlington.
Darlington against him too. Come on.
Okay, well, great. He didn't last spring when Brandon Jones won the race. So
yeah, okay, all right.
Hunter bringing out to close out before we finish up here. Nearly 3-1. It says $100 for free payout is the number. I don't know if he's putting $100 on it. That'd be some rich coin there for sure. But in any case, nearly 3-1 there. Those costly prediction markets, definitely something to get interested in. I'll be on there sooner rather than later. Just haven't done it between this week and that week.
And love the camaraderie here in the chat tonight, folks. Like Andrew saying, hope it hits. Hunter going to wait for live betting. Like this is why we appreciate this community so much. It's so awesome to come here and be able to talk to so many other great NASCAR, not only fans, but handicappers and bettors like y'all folks in the chat tonight. So thank you so much for that. If you want to continue that conversation, again, easiest free way to do it, IBT Racing Family in-betweenmedia.com/chat. It's free to join, absolutely free. And right now, if you join over there and you go into the giveaways tab, you can just like one of those messages and we'll upgrade you for free. So you're going to get full access to the betting model we talk about every week. You can get in that head-to-head contest. We're not that far ahead of you. You can still make up some ground on that. And then also you can get all the bets that we're going to be laying, because Sunday is coming out and I'm putting multiple more bets down every single week. I haven't got to Truck Series handicapping. I was waiting for a couple more of my favorite books to release some odds to get over there. So I'll have those bets in there too. Elliot, you and I are firing down. I also have all my bets, whether it's college football, NFL, entertainment betting markets, or also for the golf and live to, the PGA Tour and the Live Golf Tour. We have the bets over there for them too. So you can get all that for right now. It's free to get into that giveaway. So go over there. It's a great time to do it. But just really, really appreciate everyone, man. Elliot, it's such a cool community and happy. I feel like we're really back in the thick of it now that we've gotten past some of these just crazy tracks that are really, really tough to handicap these races for.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Definitely going to be a weekend to be in there, expecting some post P&Q additions to our cards. But unfortunately, we can't bring you in another live show. But in any case, thank you for rolling on down the back road with us. We really appreciate it. Long show tonight, but an exciting one nonetheless. Best of luck with your bets. It's going to be some March Madness for sure at Darlington. So I'll leave you with the words of the great Bill Raftery, onions.